Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about AGP since this channel has very much become about that topic. Um, what I want to discuss is does AGP relate to childhood trauma? Um, as I um, recognize um, AGP in myself, um, I also reflect on my younger days, my youth, and recognize that I had quite an unstable upbringing in a sense. Um, I, yeah, my upbringing wasn't very stable. My parents split when I was young. Um, I had um, multiple other traumatic events happen. And I often see now, upon reflection, a lot of the AGP desires that I had. A lot of that actually seemed to stem from a level of pain because I was in a lot of emotional pain. A lot of the desire was um, a lot of it was because of the pain that I suffered from. Now, what I'm not saying is that AGP was never present in me because it was. I can recall specific events that happened when I was very, very young, which contributed to the desires that I experienced. But I think that under the right circumstances, with the right support, I think that I sort of remember getting to like the age of 13 and obviously started feeling these like desires. And I remember I just kind of wanted to like, the first thing that came to mind was like, what the hell is this? But then I think I just really wanted to like experiment around with it. Like, try it out. And and then I think like after that, like the desires would just sort of vanish, right? I mean, I've up to this point I've um acted out certain um AGP tendencies, even publicly, like once or twice. But what I really realized in myself is that it doesn't really matter. Like I don't really. It's there, but it doesn't. It doesn't take over my life. As to say. Um. So you know. I think a lot of the instability that I experienced during childhood, um, a lot of that contributed to um, a lot of the um, because I also had a negative experience where I was actually made to um, I was made to look like there was something wrong with me for feeling like this by another person, and that was traumatic, right? So I can imagine a lot of the pain that I experienced was a lot of it was actually rooted in that specific trauma rather than me actually experiencing the desires themselves, right? If I'd have gone about it in a healthy way, I imagine I would have perhaps done a couple of things, experimented a little bit and just sort of maybe worked it into my character, a little bit. Whereas I had it, to me, I had the traumatic event which shifted the perspective of the direction of where I was going with the AGP tendencies, right? And I think I think a lot of people, perhaps if you're someone watching this video, if you're someone who, when you were younger, you experienced these feelings, um, maybe you were too afraid to express them, built some kind of trauma, some wall, which prevented you from expressing these feelings, right? And a lot of the pain that you experience growing up and now is actually because of the whole trauma that you built for yourself around this specific um, thing, right? I think like it, to me now it really, I'll do the occasional thing, but like to me it really doesn't hold much. Um, I have less interest now in it really. Um, I'm not saying that it's still very much like there, and there's still the drive. Okay, occasionally like the compulsion. It's a compulsion, right? But it doesn't. It just it doesn't really do anything. But yeah, I just really wanted to pinpoint um, just another about the childhood sort of traumas. Another thing what I wanted to mention was um, sexual abuse, specifically in males. Now, it's obviously a very, very personal topic, um, but I think if a male is sexually abused by a male, okay, this could be a caregiver. It happens. It happens a lot more than you might think. I think there is a possibility that if this is the case, you may develop these feelings actually in response to that trauma that happened. Um, so that's another thing to bear in mind. There's been a lot of cases of males who have been sexually abused by other males who develop these tendencies because it just makes sense, right? The experience happens, and then all of a sudden the person's wondering why. It's very deep rooted, but it also does make a lot of sense. So I think sexual abuse definitely 100% has contributed to a lot of these cases. I'm not saying specifically in myself. I'm not aware of any experience in myself. Maybe I don't. I would really hope not. But the way that sexual abuse works is we block, especially if it happens at a very, very early age, we block that memory. You know, so it's definitely something to think about. So yeah, really, what I wanted to do with this video is just talk a little bit about how childhood trauma and perhaps a lack of um, being able to express it at an early age, and also um, sexual abuse as well, um, could contribute to the desires associated with AGP. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you very much for watching, and